Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 p.m. Cairo local time, and this is the Channel 2 News. I'm Henny Saif. Let's take a look at the headlines making the news today. President Sisi urges the completion of new electricity projects and meets the IFAD chief. U.S. forces start Syria border pullback as EU warns Turkey against establishing a safe zone on the other side of the borders. And Tunisia's exit polls showed moderate and Nahda was the largest party. Welcome back. The news in details. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi today urged the completion of new electrical power projects and an upgrade of existing projects along defined timetables in order to cope with increasing consumption, mainly in Upper Egypt and frontier governorates. The president cited development needs for the increasing power demand, insisting the necessity of generating power through diversified energy sources for future generations. At a meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and Minister of Electricity Mohammed Shakir, the president also said the regional electrical link projects should proceed forward given the mutual interest they achieve for neighboring countries. The meeting also reviewed the pace of implementing electrical infrastructure in the new administrative capital and progress made in projects to generate power using renewable and new energy resources, notably solar power. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with Gerbert Hongbo, President of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, the IFAD. During the meeting, President al-Sisi hailed the decade-long role of the International Fund in supporting development projects in Egypt, adding that the fund was a strategic partner helping the government in achieving the goal of eliminating poverty in rural areas. The President also hailed the inauguration of IFAD new headquarters in Egypt, asserting Egypt's hope to hold more cooperation with the fund in a bid to transfer Egypt into a regional center for agricultural development management. On his part, the head of the International Fund for Agricultural Development expressed hope to continue boosting its partnership with the Egyptian government and the private sector to support participation in agriculture projects, which creates job opportunities for women and youth, especially in rural areas. Attending the meeting was Minister of Investment and International Cooperation Sahar Nasr and Minister of Agriculture and Land Reclamation Ezzeddin Abu State. Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli also met the visiting President of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, and hailed outstanding cooperation with the organization since the 1970s. The Prime Minister said the fund provided valuable technical and material aid to serve agricultural development goals in Egypt, stressing the government's commitment to continuous cooperation. On his part, the IFAD chief said he admires the breakthrough development Egypt has been witnessing over the last 5 years. Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli tasked Minister of Health Dr. Hala Zaid to present a full report over the financial needs of the ministry according to its priorities within a specific timetable in order to coordinate with the Ministers of Finance and Planning to provide the needed finances. The Prime Minister's remarks came during his meeting with Dr. Hala Zaid and officials from the Ministry of Health. The meeting focused on the implementation of the Health Ministry's project, including the National Program for Comprehensive Health Insurance, the National Project for Model Hospitals, and the National Project for Self-Sufficiency of Plasma Derivatives, as well as Presidential Initiative in support of women health in Egypt. Prime Minister Madbouli also urged a plan to be submitted over measures needed to support the develop Egyptian fellowship programs in order to help increase the capabilities and expertise of the Egyptian doctors.
المرحلة القادمة من مسيرة العمل الوطني تفرض علينا وضع الإنسان المصري في مقدمة أولويات الدولة من خلال إطلاق استراتيجية شاملة لإصلاح وتطوير منظومة التعليم تتوازى مع البدء في تطبيق منظومة التأمين الصحي المتكامل.
الفترة دي هي بصراحة خطوة كويسة جدا.
كلام ولا في الأحلام.
الناس مش مصدقة نفسها.
تضافركم معانا هينجح سواء كان في التعليم أو في الصحة، والكلام ده للمفكرين والمثقفين والإعلاميين بالإضافة للمجتمع.
أي حد عنده قوائم انتظار يتصل بالرقم الساخن وربنا هيكرمه إن شاء الله.
خدمة قوائم الانتظار مع حضرتك.
لن ينجح أي نظام في الدولة المصرية، تأمين صحي، تعليم، استثمار، تنمية، إلا بالاستقرار والأمن.
صراحة حاسس بالشعب،
لا في تغيير في البلد.
مس قلوب المصريين كلهم.
ادوا دفعة للنجاح وشجعوا وحطوا ايديكم معانا في ان احنا المنظومة تنجح. انا لو تخيرني بين ان انا اكل ولا اعالج دول، لا اعالج دول.
Welcome back. Turkey's presidential spokesman said Monday Turkey will not permit the Daesh terrorist group to return amid fears its threatened offensive against the Kurdish militia in northern Syria could bolster the terrorists. This came as U.S. forces began pulling back from positions along the Turkey-Syria border after the White House said Sunday it would not stand in the way of a Turkish operation against Kurdish militants in Syria. Ankara says its planned safe zone in northern Syria could allow up to 2 million Syrian refugees to return while securing Turkey's borders by eliminating terrorist elements. There are over 3.6 million Syrian refugees in Turkey, the highest number in the world, which has become an increasing source of tension in the country. A senior UN aid official said on Monday civilians must be spared in any Turkish military operation in northeast Syria. The European Union echoed the warning that a threatened Turkish offensive against a Kurdish militia in northeast Syria would harm civilians and cause a massive displacement of people. Meanwhile, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov reiterated Syria's territorial integrity must be preserved, stressing Moscow's stance that all foreign military forces with illegal presence should leave Syria. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov held talks today with his Iraqi counterpart, Mohammad Ali al-Hakim, where they discussed the security challenges facing the region. In another development, Iraqi Prime Minister Haider Abdel-Mahdi said that life returned to normal after the curfew was lifted and confirmed that security forces had resumed control and stability had been restored in Iraq. He added that the government has put forward a package of reforms and will continue to provide more to meet the demands of the protesters. On the ground, at least 15 people were killed in clashes between Iraqi security forces and anti-government protesters in the southern city of Baghdad. The death toll after 6 days of unrest has now passed 100 and more than 6,000 have been wounded. Tunisia's parliament looks deeply fractured after an election with an exit poll showing a Nahda movement in first place with only 17.5% of votes. The exit poll by Sigma Consul showed the Heart of Tunisia party in second place with 15.6%. Preliminary turnout figures showed only 41% of registered voters cast their ballots. It included Tunisia's 199 domestic constituencies, but not the 18 overseas ones. If confirmed, the result would leave Ennahda, a member of several coalitions since the revolution, needing to join the numerous rivals and independent members of parliament to gain a working majority. The vote was the third free parliamentary election in Tunisia since the 2011 revolution. European officials warned Monday that Britain's latest Brexit proposal won't serve as a basis for a breakthrough before next week's Brussels summit. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson earlier told the European Union that the Brexit ball was in its court and that the bloc should now urgently discuss in detail his proposal for breaking the deadlock ahead of Britain's scheduled departure on October 31st. Johnson made his proposal to the EU last Wednesday, offering a possible compromise on the Irish border that drew a polite but cool reception from the EU. U.S. President Donald Trump lashed out at the top Democrat in Congress, saying House Speaker Nancy Pelosi could be guilty of treason. Trump also lashed out at Democrat Joe Biden, strongly suggesting that he and his family were corrupt and saying the former vice president should hang it up. The president advanced widely discredited allegations that Biden interfered improperly to protect his son Hunter from suggestions of corrupt dealings in Ukraine, and that the younger Biden also made $1.5 billion in a questionable deal in China. 3 researchers from the US and Britain on Monday shared the Nobel Medicine Prize for research into how human cells sense and adapt to changing oxygen levels, opening up new strategies to fight common diseases such as cancer and anemia. William Kaelin and Greg Semenza of the US and Britain's Peter Ratcliffe split the award. While the fact that humans need oxygen to survive has been understood for centuries, how the body registers and responds to oxygen was little known prior to this trio's pioneering work. They established the basis for understanding of how oxygen levels affect cellular metabolism and physiological function. These were the political news. Now it's time for the business updates, where Egypt's stock market today gained £11 billion, boosted by Arab corporate purchases against Arab and foreign investor sell-offs, with its capital reaching £724.7 billion at dealing's close. The benchmark EGX 30 index rose 1.5% above the 14,430-point mark. Medium-capped EGX 70 index surged 1.5%, and the broader EGX 100 index hiked 1.4%. Europe's stock markets pushed higher today as investors bet that gloomy German economic data would help persuade the European Central Bank to continue its accommodative monetary policy. London's FTSE 100 rose 0.4%. The Paris CAC 40 and Frankfurt's DAX 30 both climbed 0.2%. Most markets nosedived in Asia after a mixed U.S. jobs report eased worries about a recession in the world's top economy. Tokyo's Nikkei 225 fell 0.2%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng and China's Shanghai Composite were closed for a public holiday. Turkey's lira slid against the dollar today after the White House said Ankara will soon be moving forward with its operation into northern Syria and that U.S. armed forces will not support it or be involved. The lira was trading at $5.74, weakening from a close of 5.7 at the weekend. Turkey's lira lost nearly 30% against the dollar in a currency crisis last year, sparked by concerns over political interference with monetary policy, as well as deterioration in ties between Washington and Ankara. It's down some 8% this year. In commodity markets, oil prices rose as broadly positive U.S. jobs data from last week quelled some fears about an economic slowdown. But nervousness over U.S.-China trade talks persisted, and weaker European economic data trickled in. London's Brent crude futures were higher by 1% at $58.93 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures climbed 1.2% at $53.46 a barrel. Meanwhile, spot gold fell 0.35% to $1,499 an ounce over reports that Beijing agreed on an expanded trade agreement with Washington.